Hi everyone, and welcome to our Q&A with Dazzling designer Ben Skinner from Skindog Surfboards. Ben is going to be answering some of your questions today, all about his job as a product designer. So, Ben, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, hope you're all well. As Holly said, my name's Ben. I've been making surfboards for about 12, 13 years now. And I'm here to hopefully answer any questions you may have.
Super, thanks, Ben. So we've had some questions come in from the schools that are taking part in our digital engagement pilot. So I'm going to ask you some of what they'd like to know. First question is from someone called Lily in Devon. And she says, what made you want to work with computers?
Well, it's funny because computers wasn't my natural sort of talent or anything. I've not been exactly computer literate my whole life. It's something I've definitely learned. If I had the chance again at school, I'd definitely be taking my IT lessons more seriously. So, now the fact is I do work on computer a lot. All of my designing is done on a CAD-based program. So I've taught myself to use the program over the last 13 years. And for me, it was really about, I saw CAD design as being the best way for me to improve the shapes and designs that I'm making, for people who are surfing. Essentially, I want to make the best product for the surfer that I'm making it for, whether it be myself competing in world events or my son competing in under 12 English titles, or even, I'm working with a Paralympic surfer at the minute who's prone surfing. So, all those sort of different elements, everybody needs something different. And that's where I saw this CAD program being amazing. And, being able to move my designs on each time in small implications and actually understand what each change does has been the biggest thing for me. So it's definitely over time you get to fine tune all your shapes to a point where you know exactly what they're doing, and if you change this, it's going to do this, and that's what excites me about board building in the first place.
Amazing, yeah. So it's almost like you managed to teach yourself those computer skills over the years then.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I watched people do it for a while, and when I first started shaping, I wasn't in shape. For the first years of my business, I had somebody else finishing the boards for me. I was 22 years old. I was a professional surfer. The last thing I wanted to do was be in a shaping room at the time. I was just interested in design and designing them, and I wanted to be on the best equipment, and that's really where my journey started. And then 2 years in, the guy who was shaping for me at the time, Chris Harris, who's a South African shaper, been shaping for years, and he wanted to go into design for websites and all that sort of thing. So he went off to do courses, and it was pretty much like, what am I going to do now? I was thrown in the deep end a little bit, but it's the best thing that ever happened. I always wanted to do it eventually. It just happened a bit quicker than I expected, and actually it's the best thing that happened to me. So yeah.
Amazing, cool, thank you. Another question we've got, which we've sort of answered now, but it's from Katie in Exeter. She's asked, did you do digital at school? So it sort of sounds like you did it a bit, but you weren't thinking about it too much. Did you do much of it?
No, I mean, to be honest, yeah, back, it's quite a long time ago now. The computers aren't exactly what they are now either, and I think, like, I don't even think the CAD programs were available. They weren't available when I was at school. I think I was about 17 years old when this sort of all came about with shaping surfboards. I'm sure CAD programs were there, but not for surfboard design. So it wasn't something that they taught us in school, or they still don't. We do have courses now that you can do, the surf science and the marine science course, and I'm actually lecturing the students, teach them the program, and they come and make their board from start to finish in here with us. So it's cool that that's happening now, but when I was younger, it definitely wasn't. And we were doing really basic stuff on a computer that, didn't interest me at the time because I was surfing all the
time. That's brilliant, though. It just goes to show that as things change, there's always something new to learn, which keeps it really exciting, which is great.
Definitely.
Next question is from Jamie in Taunton, and he's asked, what was your job before you started Skindog Surfboards?
Well, I've touched on it a little bit already, but I was a professional surfer. I still am a professional surfer. It's something that I've always wanted to be a world champion. I've been second in the world twice, got very close and not quite got there. But I have done a lot of European events. I've won 11 European titles and close to 20 British titles, and something that I've been real passionate about. That's, ultimately that was the progression to me designing surfboards, was my love and passion for surfing, competing, wanting to be better, ride better equipment. Like, essentially that was what it was all about.
Fantastic. That's the thing, isn't it? You've always got to follow your passion. Whatever you're excited about, that's the thing to go for, isn't it?
Totally. And I mean, look, if somebody said to me I was going to be, have a surfboard factory, be making surfboards by the time I was 36, I probably wouldn't have believed them, because at the time, all I wanted to do was surf and compete. But I soon realised, that for me to, get better, I wanted to look at construction as well of surfboards, and we started doing carbon rail technology with no stringers, and we were trying to innovate what we were doing as much as possible, and that's what excited me, because I did feel like I surfed better on the boards, and therefore I could go and win events. So it was like, that was the progression for me.
Awesome. It must be really exciting to see all the technologies coming to life and all the ideas that are in your head being made into real life and then being able to use them.
Yeah, it's the best part of my job, I think, and also passing that on to other people, and changing people's feeling about surfing.
Fantastic. So we have another question here from Amelia in Torquay, and she's asked, how did you learn to design surfboards and use the kit? So you kind of touched on that already, that you taught yourself, but did you have like a mentor or?
Sorry, Holly, can you just wait 1 second? I'm sorry,
No worries.
my dog's trying
The joys of animals, eh?
So all I can hear is that. Sorry.
So you can see in the background there, behind Ben, that that's the room where you do some of the technological stuff, isn't it? Behind you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is where I do all the shaping in here. It's all about the lighting, and you can see there that the lights are all from the side, and if you can see the angle of the light here, it's really important, and that shines onto the board that's sat in the middle here and allows us to see all the all the contours and the lines, and allows us to shape a perfect board. If we didn't have these lights or just overhead lighting, it's almost impossible to shape a surfboard. So the environment that you do it in is really important.
Fantastic. So yeah, how did you sort of learn to use the kit? I think you touched on it being self-taught, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, pretty much thrown into the deep end. Chris was very much designing on the computer with me. So when I first started doing those designs for the first 2 years, I was sat with him, and I used to say, really, he was my hands. He was like, I knew what I wanted in my head, but I couldn't use the computer program. I wasn't a surfboard shaper, so I needed to transfer it to somebody that could then turn what I had in my head into something. So I worked very closely with him over those 2 years on the program and in the shaping room. So I've watched a lot of shaping. I've been around it my whole life, and it was just a natural progression, really, of just really getting stuck in. I mean, the first thing is getting the system onto the computer, and then it's working on it and making the mistakes. I think that's quite a key point here. I didn't go into it making perfect boards straight away. It's you make mistakes, and that's how you learn. So even when you're competing and stuff like that, all the mistakes that I made in the heats made me a better surfer and a better competitor. So yeah, made a few mistakes and learned along the way, and that's pretty much how life works, right?
Absolutely, definitely. Making mistakes is absolutely the best way to learn, and as they say, practice makes progress, doesn't it? You can always improve on what you're doing. So we have another question from Ruby in North Devon, and she's asked, what is your favourite part of your job?
One of the favourite parts of my job is to be honest, as corny as it might sound, but seeing the kids' faces when they come in and collect their surfboards is like one of the best things about my job. And you know, seeing the buzz and how happy they are about their surfboard and that we've kind of helped them create it. So I really take that bit seriously and want to make sure that, you know, I'm not just selling them a board out the corner of the room that's been there for 5 years because we want to sell it. It's, you know, we let them try a board. We try and find out what they actually need to make their surfing better rather than just selling them what we got in the back room. So that process, going through that with them is quite personal. And then at the end, they come in and it's the colour and everything they've chosen, or the kids drawn their drawing or got their name on it, whatever it is that, you know, they're just stoked about. But the board works and takes them to the next level. That's
Awesome.
the most rewarding part of my job.
Yeah, it sounds really rewarding.
Yeah, the best bit, like physically though, is that if the surf's good, I shut the doors and I go surfing.
That is the beauty of having your own business, isn't it? You got your own timetable, which is fantastic. That sounds amazing. There's so many elements to your job that you know, you use your digital skills and it actually helps people. It contributes to the world and you're able to make a positive change, which sounds just amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's what it's all about.
So we have another question from Sam in Torbay, and they've said, do you think it's important to be good on a computer?
Well, as I said before, I think if I had my chance, I'd probably go back to school and take IT a bit more seriously. And I think, let's face it, computers have moved on so much in like, you know, 17 years or something that I was at school. So now I think things are generally easier. We're all much more kind of technology literate. We understand it. And if you have an opportunity to learn a skill on a computer, then I would advise you to definitely do it. Take any opportunity to better your skills in a technology basis, because essentially that's where the whole world is going. And a lot of jobs are going to come back to working on a computer soon, whether it's designing what we're doing now, you know, whatever. You've got to be able to use a computer at some point in your life. So I think it's really important that you do take the opportunities to learn while you're at school. Sorry, my dog's going a bit nuts.
That's all right. No, I totally think that's true. And you know, if you have that opportunity, then take it and use it as best you can, because those digital skills are amazing, really, to have. They're really important, and you can use your digital skills to turn your passion into a career like you have. So we have another question. What's your dog called?
Bungle, believe it or not, Bungle. It's in you're probably all a bit young for it, but Zippy and Bungle from Rainbow. And yeah, I had a little teddy bear called Bungle when I was little, and it looks like him, so the kids have called him Bungle. He's only 5. Brilliant. He's only 5 months old, so he's a little pup.
Oh, so we have another question from Joe in Plymouth, and they have asked, if you could choose any dream job, what would you choose?
Well, professional surfing was my dream job, to be fair, and I'm pretty lucky to have been able to fulfill that, really. And you know, yeah, I don't think I'd want to be doing anything else than what I'm doing at the minute. As I said before, I mean, you know, had I become world champion or something, you know, my life might have changed. I might have had more money. I might not have gone down this route of becoming, you know, such a businessman. But I had a child when I was 22, when the year I started the business in 2008, and that was really my drive, because I knew that professional surfing was a dream, and that was kind of like something I was doing. But dreams don't last forever in those circumstances, especially in the sporting world, as you see in any sport. So I was quite aware of that, and the fact that I needed to support a family really changed my way of thinking, and so I pretty much created this business around my dream job. And so yeah, it's my business partner Gracie, who we started together. He ended up having a boy 10 days after my first boy, and so we both had the same drive to, to build something to leave for our children more than, this isn't a business I'm going to sell. Like a lot of people build businesses in 3 years, sell them, build another one, sell it. This is like, this is a, the business is kind of me really, and so to sell it, it wouldn't be the same. And hopefully my kids can step into my shoes and take on the business that we've built. And we're lucky enough to be selling globally now as well, which no UK shaper has ever done before. And we are literally selling all around the world in to Korea, Israel, Australia, Hawaii, California, East Coast of America. Literally all over the world now. West Africa, this board's turning up, and so yeah, it's that. Hopefully, that's something that's a legacy that can support my family and something that my kids can end up living off in the future. So yeah, I think you grow up quickly when you have a kid and you realise there's bigger things to think about than going surfing. So that was a big wake up.
Yeah, it sounds like you've managed to live out your dream and then also create a bit of a legacy for yourself, and what an achievement as well to be the first ones to be selling abroad in the UK. That's amazing. It's like you've managed to turn those digital skills into a dream, really. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster, and it's still going like this. So
there's always ways to learn, isn't there? Always something new
always
to learn.
ups and downs and things to like overcome, and challenges basically all along the way, whether it's business related, family related, or staff related. There's always things that are challenging. So, but it's what makes it exciting.
Definitely. So we've got a couple more questions from some of our digital skills schools. We've got from Kyle in West Devon. When you look back at your first designs, what do you think?
That's a good question. I've got to be honest, some of the first boards that we made like 13 years ago, I look at them now and I'm just like, whoa, what was I doing? But as I said to you before, it's really important to remember where you came from and remember the fact that, although the board, there's nothing really wrong with it, but compared to what we're doing now and what I know now, I look at it and I don't like what I see. And that's just part of progression. And at the same time, I love to see it as well, because you get to see how far you have moved on, and that's really what's important. If I was still making boards like that now, I'd be worried. But yeah, I mean, some of them I look at and cringe and think, what were we thinking? But as I said before, that's what makes you better, right? So you can't really forget all those mistakes that you've made, and I wouldn't even call them mistakes. I think it's it's just part of the process and part of the learning process. When you first start writing, you don't just start writing perfect letters. You have to learn. So it's the same as anything. So yeah, it's good to see it.
Yeah, it must be really interesting and quite amazing, really, to be able to see your progress and think, I've come this far in all these years, and know that whatever you started out
I've lost
as.
you there, Holly.
Oh, sorry, it's a bit of a funny connection. I was just saying it must be amazing to be able to go back and see your progress and just know that you've made all these brilliant skills and developed your skills, which must be very cool. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Cool. So we have got just one more question, and we haven't got a name for this one. Not sure who it's come from, but they've asked, what's your ultimate future? Which I think is a really interesting question. Where do you see yourself going?
Ultimate future.
Yeah.
So I want to win a world title. That's been my goal and dream as a kid. So I don't really want to let go of my dreams. I always try and think big and try and teach my kids the same thing. If you want to do something, you just got to put your mind to it, and it's achievable. So I'm not going to give up on that. I'm currently still in the world tour, and I'm fifth at the moment. But there's been no competing since February last year for obvious reasons. So my ultimate future is to fulfill that dream. Obviously, continue taking my business to better and higher places, and being able to support my family the way I want, be able to buy a house, all these things that are really difficult in this day and age for anyone of our age or generation. So to do that, you've got to work hard. So I'm going to put my head down and work hard and hopefully achieve those things. And then who knows? I mean, my son Lucas has the opportunity to be one of the best British surfers ever, potentially in Europe. And he wants to be in the world tours as well, and wants to compete in the Olympics. And so I'd love to be able to stand by his side, carry on making boards, and kind of help him progress to that as well. So yeah, lots of things that I'd like to see happen in my future, but essentially be healthy, happy, and all those other things that are really important. It's easy to forget the simple things in life when you're doing so much. COVID's definitely been something that's taught me that, and stripped everything away from me without me having any say, like the whole world. So not being able to travel and having all those things that I love, and I thought that was is what made me tick, which essentially is, but I didn't realize how hectic my life was as well, and trying to work and with the family and traveling and all those things together is it was just so fast all the time. And I'd be away for 1 to 2 weeks a month, and trying to do all my work and see the family and compete. And so once all that got taken away, I think it slowed it all down and made me realize what's really important, and that's kind of spending time with the people you love, really. So it's been a really good experience.
Definitely. I think this past year and a half has certainly shown us that well, we know what's important, and yeah, developing our skills and honing in on the things that we really love and care and feel passionate about is super important, definitely. But they sound like amazing goals, and it must be so rewarding to see the skills that you've got and the work that you do then being passed down to your son as well, and him being able to compete on boards that you've built from your digital skills.
Yeah, it's a real special thing. And yeah, I think the other thing is it has allowed me to focus my attention on the business as well, and sort of probably take it a little bit further than what I could possibly do, trying to do everything. So kind of a lesson there as well. Focus on something and make sure you put all your attention into it to make it succeed. It's easy to have loads of things going on and not concentrate on one in particular.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today, Ben, and thank you so much for chatting to us and answering our questions all about your career and your job as a product designer. It sounds super exciting, and yeah, we've just loved learning about you, our dazzling designer. So thank you very much, and we hope you've enjoyed hearing about Ben's job today, and we will see you next time for our super software Q&A. Thank you.